Welcome back to New Money. This evening we're discussing short-term insurance. My guests Greg Britz and Shane Pickles. If you'd like to email me, you can see my email address on the screen. Let's just talk something very much about the people not fully understanding the terms and conditions. And I talk about alarm warranties, I talk about safes at home, those type of things. Maybe you can pick this one up, Shane.
Yeah, so Bryan, again, important to look at what your policy reads, and the alarm warranty is an important aspect depending on the sum insured that you have on the policy. Certain insurers may exclude or waiver an alarm warranty should your sum insured be less than a certain amount. But over a certain amount, it is important to make sure that if there's an alarm warranty that you comply with the conditions. And basically that is that when the home is unoccupied, the alarm must be activated.
So explain that word unoccupied. Does that mean no one in the home? Does domestic staff count? Does a gardener count? What is unoccupied?
So no one in the home. So if there's no one in the home and the home is unoccupied, it needs to be activated. So that's important to understand. Domestic worker, if there's someone in the home, then it is occupied. But when there's no one in the property, it needs to be activated.
Okay, so I just want to get the clarity. So you've got a home with a freestanding staff room.
Right.
And the staff are in that room.
Yes.
Which is attached to the home, but
yes.
Is that considered in the home?
I just want to clarify that. Certain insurers have said that in that instance, if the domestic has retired to a separate area, separate room. So that's that whole thing where Shane is trying to say. If the house is, if she's staying in the home or part of the home, then you couldn't arm the alarm. But if she's retiring to another aspect, there are certain insurers that are requesting that the main premises be activated.
Could you give me an indication of percentage of homes that insurers that insist on a burglar alarm warranty?
That insist on an alarm warranty. So most freestanding homes are insisting on an alarm these days. Yeah. It's not and the sum insured is actually driving the alarm. So if your sum insured goes over $1 million, which is quite easily to get there, most insurers are requesting a linked alarm. And if you don't have certain tangible security, so if you're not going to fit a burglar bar or a security guard on external doors opening windows, then insurers will trade off with a linked alarm. So that is the trade-off.
Yeah. So again, let's just clarify that million, because many viewers must say, well, that we don't have. It's not the value that's in the home. It's the replacement value of what's in your home. Is that correct, Shane?
Correct. So it always works on replacement value of the contents, if we're referring to that, so the replacement value of the contents in your home. But also just 2 steps back on Greg there, just to go back to the alarm warranty where there are estates. If you're living in a secure estate with 24-hour security, access control, biometrics, then insurers will generally waiver that linked alarm, even though you don't have burglar bars or security gates. So it's important to just clarify that with the insurer and make sure that you're keeping the client informed of those conditions should an insurer impose them, and then of course you go back and negotiate with your insurer.
Shane, I don't want to put you on the spot, but direct insurers, where you go direct, do they ask all these questions in detail, or would you rather just
Bryan, so they would ask the questions. They would ask the questions directly. Do you have a linked alarm? And the answer is either yes or no. And do you activate your alarm when the home is unoccupied? And that's yes or no. Whether they go into any additional information, I'm not sure over and above, because I haven't made that call to ask exactly what they ask. But it's important to understand what they have. And of course, you've got your policy wording. And the onus is on the client to read that policy wording when it arrives. And in there, you might find certain conditions over and above what you've discussed telephonically and what you've been recorded on.
How do you, as a broking house, help clients read that policy?
So,
do you summarize?
Well, yes, we do. But we also have a big document, well, we call it a big document, but an advice record document. So we go through a lot of questions to make the client aware of what is actually in their policy wordings. So make sure that we're making sure that the client is protected and that they understand what their policy is offering and what the terms and conditions are, and give the advice.
That was driven out of our claims department. That's the document came. It started in the good old days with 2 pages. It's now currently on 9. But the reason for it is to see where are the shortcomings? What are clients not doing? We picked up recently, even though we've elaborated that you must have your alarm linked when you're not at home, we see people have gone, I just quickly pop down to the shops, I've left the dogs in the house and I'm not putting the alarm on. And if your policy is subject to that, the insurance company, when the loss occurs, is going to ask for your response company to say, show us what happened, when did it go off, when was it set, and there is a report that most companies can give to the insurance company. If you haven't done it, the claim can most likely be repudiated.
Dogs don't count.
No.
So let's just talk about what people concern themselves. What must they know if you have a motor accident?
Okay, so
I mean, people are terribly confusing. You know, there's what are the factors?
So
because can you move the cars? Because I mean, I got caught in Cape Town recently, last week, in traffic where there are 3 lanes. In the middle lane there was an accident, and the police were there. I couldn't understand why they just didn't move them off the road. They didn't. Everyone had to go around. It took an hour instead of 20 minutes.
Yeah. So this is a bit of a grey area for me. The whole thing is if someone is injured, you don't want to be moving the cars and to establish the facts. I do think that the motor car, if no one has been injured, that you can move the vehicle out of the way. But again, take photos, as many as you can. Most of us got a cell phone on us. Take as many from front, from back, where the third party vehicle is sitting, where yours is sitting. An important thing to remember is phone the towing company that is being used by the insurer. Because the cost, if you don't use the towing company that the insurance company has told you to use, if there's additional cost that's being transferred back onto the client. Another thing that you do not admit liability, even if you feel as guilty as can be. Maybe you are at fault. There's a thing called apportionment. Depends on the most guilty party will pay the most part of the claim. So you might hit a person side on. There's always going to be 2 stories sometimes, so you never admit liability. Take as many photos and get as much information out of the third party. Are they insured? It just helps to recover. Now we're talking about insurance premiums and unfortunate incidences that happen. Insurers are quite determined to recover. That knock-for-knock agreement that was around about 15 years ago is gone. Each insurance company recovers the costs against the third party in some shape or another. And if the less information they have, the less likely they are to recover against the policy, if the damages that you've caused.
Shane, I'm going to ask you this question. Yes. I thought if I hit a car from behind, I'm always 100% guilty. Is there a possibility that there's apportionment?
There could be, but the thing is you still hit someone from behind.
Yeah.
So, the thing is what happened to the third party in front of you, there could have been a cat or dog that ran across and they've hit the brakes purposely to try and avoid an accident. You've gone into the back. The thing is, did you give enough space or braking space in order to avoid the accident? And that's yes or no. So sometimes there's an investigation that goes into those claims. But generally, if you've hit someone from behind, it is supposed to be seen as your fault, yes.
Okay, I've got 2 hot spots that I want to talk to you about quickly before we go to our emails. We are coming. First one, solar.
Yes.
What is the responsibility of a policyholder informing the insurer that puts solar in?
So, firstly, notify the insurance company that you have installed a solar system.
Would you say that's important?
Very important. You must notify them because it's the value that could make you underinsured on your building, for instance. So these solar systems are going anywhere up to 500, 600,000 and higher, Bryan. So you need to notify your insurer that you have a solar system that has been installed. Secondly, very important, get a COC. And that's a certificate of compliance, and only use accredited solar installers. Please don't use anyone off the side of the street that's offering you half the price of what the genuine companies are offering you, because there could be fire hazards imposed. Again, you don't get the proper COC. And what we found also is make sure that your solar system or your roof can actually maintain the weight of the solar panels. And there have been instances in the market where the roof has actually collapsed because of the weight. So
would that not be an insured peril?
It again depends on what the clauses or what the insurers asked you to do in that particular policy. If certain insurers will ask me.
As a layman, how would I know?
Correct.
If there's
that's up to your installer also to check what beams you have in. They have a responsibility too, and they have a contractor's all risk policy. So it's their responsibility to make sure that what they put in on your roof, can the trusses actually withstand that, Bryan? So I think there's a two-way street here.
And Greg, anything about electric cars?
They've become a bit of a big talking point. I read an article from overseas because they're a bit ahead of the curve with us with vehicles. So the problem with those vehicles is that they write off a lot faster. So when you have an accident, you're either damaging the electrics, the battery's getting damaged, which is the big bulk of the cost of the motor car, and they get written off very quickly. So what we've seen locally in the marketplace is premiums of 30 or 40% more than what you would pay for a standard combustion engine in terms of the vehicle. So, and part of the reason being is that those cars accelerate. I haven't driven one myself. I actually should, just to give a first-hand experience. But we wrote an article the other day to our clients, and we had a client that had been driving an electric car for 5 years. So he wrote back to us, I think I can give a little bit more input, and he absolutely said that acceleration on that car, and it's silent. So when you pull off from a stop street or traffic light, you can damage the car a lot faster. So the claims cost is driven up, and the incident rate seems to be driven up. And I suppose over time, over many years, I think people will get used to that. But right now, today, it's a very hot topic. The insurers don't know how to manage it because the write-off rate is very quick. Like with a normal car, it takes a lot longer to write a vehicle.
Okay, I've only got 2 minutes left, so I'm going to try and get some emails.
No problem.
Melanie in Randburg said, is it correct that I don't need to specify items on personal policies anymore? You touched on that earlier on.
Yes. So again, depending on the product that you're on, Bryan, if you're on a traditional policy, you need to specify items when you take it away from home. So if you want sunglasses, prescription glasses, cell phones, laptops, iPads, things like that, then yes, you need to specify them on your policy when you take it away from home. If it's at your home and your sum insured is adequate, and there's a break-in, then the policy will respond. But the minute it leaves the home, you would need to specify
Tell me,
the product.
if I'm specifying something, do I pay the same premium that I would have paid for the year, but just prorated? Or do they give you a slightly higher premium because you just...
Bryan, it's an interesting question. We are finding the market, and Greg perhaps comment, we are finding that they're just dividing it by 12. Yeah. I think in years gone past, yes, they would give you maybe 10 months, and then of course go from there. But at the moment, we're just finding it's a divide by 12.
Greg, any your comment?
Just elaborate on that. The policy, the market has moved. People need to start asking the questions about, do I need to specify any more depending on the product that they're on? So remember, there are products now that basically give you an extension of your house contents. So you're no longer listing cell phone, watch, ring, whatever else. They're giving you a number. They're saying, how much cover do you want out of the home? And you say, well, I want 50,000 Rand. And they'll give you 50,000 Rand and extend your house policy. There are terms and conditions attached to, qualification criteria that you qualify for these products, but they're available, and that's where the market has shifted to with a lot of clients.
Well, I must apologize to many of the people, but we've had a very full program, and I hope tonight's program has provided valuable insights into the steps needed to ensure you fully understand what you're insuring. The last thing you want to have is a claim denied or reduced due to underinsurance. Greg, Shane, thank you for joining me this evening. It's important to note that our program is to provide information and should not be construed as advice. Next week's program we'll be dealing with investments, and you need to get hold of me. My details will appear on the screen. I'd like to thank you for watching, and good night.